Welcome back to this World Cup special where we are reliving April 2, 2011 with the one and only Sachin Tendulkar at the very ground where it all happened on that memorable day. Now, Sachin, we've spoken about your teammates, but I will speak about you. You were what, 37 when that World Cup came about, and I remember talking to you in 2007 and it almost felt that that was your last World Cup. Was this the dream that you always had and this was something that you were determined to do?
See, I was determined to win the World Cup since 1992 and came close on a couple of occasions. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But the most important thing was I never gave up hope. And I think that is something which drove me all the way to 2011 World Cup. And I still remember 2007, Rajdeep, when I got back home, I was so depressed and so upset with the way we had performed. I actually thought of retiring them. And I called my brother over, Ajit, and I also told him that, I really don't feel like continuing. I mean, this is, game has been really cruel to us and, I want to stop. And that's when he said, can you imagine in 2011, you are here on Wankhede Stadium, holding that beautiful trophy. That is when, you should think of retiring. Till then, don't even think of it.
So you had thought of retiring and for 4 years you lived that dream of this day happening one day.
Yeah, because, that conversation really helped and it sort of motivated me to go out and work for a purpose. There was a goal which was 4 years down the line, but I started preparing myself for that. Back of my mind, whenever I went out and I trained, it was 2011 World Cup.
And you come into the 2011 World Cup and you perform very well in those, in the early matches, 100 against England, 100 against South Africa, and then you got a very important 80, I remember, against Pakistan in the semi-finals. You got a 50 in the quarter-finals. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, was there something driving you? As you said, for 4 years, it almost seemed as if this was, you were driving yourself to this moment.
Yeah, I mean, you always go out to give your best, but this particular World Cup, I mean, it was different because it was happening in front of our own people. And your
Mumbai crowd.
And things had changed, post 2007 World Cup. Things had changed. Indian team also ended up becoming world number 1 in Test cricket. And we had started playing good cricket. And then we wanted to just take that momentum into World Cup. And then finished really well. And
it's interesting you're telling me today that you thought of retiring from all forms of cricket or only one-day cricket?
Yeah, all forms of cricket. I just wanted to stop.
You wanted to stop. So Sachin Tendulkar wanted to stop in 2007. Thank God you didn't, because then you wouldn't have had 2011 happen. I mean, from a personal point of view, you've achieved it all. Record number of runs, the test centuries. You had done it all. I mean, there was nothing left to do. So what was this World Cup about? Was it something about that as a young boy you had seen Kapil Dev lift that World Cup, or was that memory there in your mind?
I was only 10. I was too small to understand the significance of the World Cup. Winning the World Cup, I only understood when I actually played the first World Cup in Australia. That occasion, that grandness of this tournament, it's something. And I did not know the significance of that. But I started playing cricket from the age of 6 or so, 5 or 6 with the tennis ball, and then started playing season ball. But in 1983, that was an amazing moment. I also joined a party, we are celebrating, but I did not understand the significance.
In that World Cup 2011, it was almost 6 weeks. Was there a match or a moment were there World Cup moments for you in that 2011 World Cup where you thought, my dream is going to be fulfilled, or was it just that last shot of Dhoni when you finally said?
Yeah, no, I didn't want to,
Were there any special moments for you during that World Cup? The 100 that you scored?
There were so many incredible moments, but
because that game against Pakistan, for example.
The game against England when it was a tied game, people started circulating SMSs that whichever tournament Dhoni has tied, he has won. it was IPL,
Right.
it was Champions League,
It was
it was
T20
T20 World Cup, and then now it was
Oh, I
World
see.
Cup.
So
start.
again, a new superstition.
So that time, people started circulating these messages, and I said, "Ho sakta hai."
Which was more difficult, the match here at Wankhede or that semi-final in Mohali? Because there the pressure, you had the Prime Ministers of India, Pakistan. I mean, it was Pakistan, and you've always done, I mean, for remarkably against Pakistan. Was that more difficult, or was the final more difficult?
Final was different because we knew ki this is it. If you win this game, the tournament is over and the trophy is sitting happily in our dressing room. But Pakistan game was by far high pressured game compared to the finals. It's a different atmosphere altogether, and Pakistan game is not about only that day. I remember in 2003 when we played Pakistan at Centurion. My friends had started talking about it good 10 months ago. That on whatever so and so date, March beginning, I think we played. Said we are playing Pakistan at Centurion. That is the match. You have to win that match, and after that, whatever happens. Well, obviously we don't think like that. But such is the enthusiasm.
You have not made Shoaib Akhtar forget that match with that six that you hit of him. But the fact is that it obviously was, you had Australia quarter-final, Pakistan semi-final, Sri Lanka final. So it was, of these three games, which was the one when you decided that the World Cup was within your grasp, that the dream was about to be fulfilled?
See, we knew that quarterfinals, Australia was playing tremendous cricket. Pakistan semi-finals, again, a solid team, extremely competitive. And finals, obviously, Sri Lanka was also producing some amazing cricket. They knew the conditions better than the most. And there's not much difference playing in India, Sri Lanka or Pakistan or Bangladesh for that sake.
As we are ending, if I ask you your moment, is there one moment of that World Cup finals of 2011 that stands out for you? Something that you will never forget all your life? It could well be the moment that you lifted the cup for the first time and put it in your hand and kissed it maybe for the first time. Was that the moment, or was there a personal batting moment?
No, I think nothing matches to that moment where I actually held the World Cup in my hands. And
were you willing to give it to your teammates or not? Or you
we wanted to share it. It was not my trophy. It was our trophy. It was entire nation's trophy.
You remember where you held it first time?
We were there, right up on the dais there.
That's right. So that's when you first held it in your hand. And then, of course, they took you around the ground. And I believe that you called your wife and your children who were sitting in the stand.
Anjali was not there, but Sara and Arjun were right up there in the stands.
Okay.
And while we were down there celebrating and all that, I spotted them and I called them down. I said, "Come down. This is the moment. You got to join me." And I had spoken to Anjali by then, and I said, "What are you doing at home? You got to be here." She had already left, and then she was on her way. By the way, her car, when they spotted her in the car, all the other cars on top of the roof, they were jumping and dancing and celebrating. But when they spotted her inside the car, I said, "Not this car."
Not this car. On this day, we can't do anything to Sachin Tendulkar and his family. They are the closest to God. As we are ending, this is the Sachin Tendulkar stand. Every time you see it, I know you come to this ground now much less than you used to. This is a ground where you've played many great innings. I was very privileged as a young boy or a young journalist to watch you score your first 100. I'll never forget it, 1988 December, Ranji Trophy. But when you see your name there, is it a culmination of all those 25 years, you think, where you worked for that one goal to be one day World Cup champion?
Yeah, I think, it completes your journey. It completes your career. When you have won the World Cup, then that is all you want.
You wouldn't have felt complete. You wouldn't have felt complete in some way as a cricketer, is it?
Somewhere, I would have not possibly said this publicly, but somewhere to myself, if I put my hand on the heart, I would have felt bad that no, in my career I was not able to achieve that.
Sachin, at the end of the day, you've achieved it all. You've given us so much of pleasure. You won that World Cup and you've got a stand named after you. I don't think you can ask for more. As always, thank you very much for sharing those memories of the 2011 World Cup. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Sachin Tendulkar, our special guest through the World Cup 2015 finals. It doesn't get bigger than this. He will take us through his memories of the World Cup. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Sachin.
Thank you.